So legend has it, I was told that this is the character Yor, but I think it comes from the bowels of California. So they must have added another chromosome to it. Like California is the land of chromosomes. They have so many that every single time they made a video character in a game, they have to add a couple extra. They can't help themselves. No, but unironically though, like I have genuine, like legitimately becoming concerned. Do the Americans from California like legitimately do not know what beauty is? Like, have they forgotten the concept? Did their mother not teach them? Like did they not look at their mother and say, "Mom, you are beautiful," and then like try to represent their mother in a video game? Like, what happened? What happened? Did the HR hag cast a spell on them? Like, how is it possible? Like, after so many female characters within the last 3 years, you would think that at one point, at least by accident, they would get it right. Because I'm looking at South Korea. Like, how does South Korea know what's beautiful? How the fuck does Bollywood know what's beautiful? How does China know what's beautiful? What is happening with California? Yeah. Huh? Yuri from Red Alert mind controlled them and made them forget the concept of beauty. No, like, unironically, you go on Twitter, you don't believe me, you go on Twitter and you find a person with like various flag in their bios and paraphernalia and a hammer and a sickle and a black flag. And he's like, but what is beauty? Can you define it? If you do not give me the scientific definition, it means that it does not exist. It is subjective. What is beautiful for me may not be beautiful for you. So therefore, and like, okay, well, therefore, how the fuck do you constantly manage to create ugly as sin characters? How is it possible, right? Now, of course, you know, the answer to this is mods. It's like, fine, do your slop. You know, like, hire the best of the woke. I mean, this is, you know, when you go for woke ideologues, this is what you get. Like, they cannot do anything better, you know? Like, even God would not require something of a person to perform more than they can. You know, like, this is the best of their ability. This is what you got to work with. So people are like, okay, you know, we're just not going to be woke, so we're going to get modders. You know, people who want to make money for a living. Like, people who understand the free market. People who understand merit. So you're going to have modders. And the modders are going to be able to create beautiful characters. I mean, it's not that hard. They can do it. Well, see, this is the problem, because Capcom actually wants you to spend money for this shit. Like, I know Capcom is male. Because imagine the size of their balls. Imagine the size of their testicles to actually go and look at you through the computer screen and require that you pay money, that your hard-earned cash, okay? You take it away from your family. You do not give it to your wife and children, and you give it to the multi-million-dollar corporation instead. You give it to Capcom instead, right? Like, imagine the audacity. How can you request something like this from fellow human beings? It is insane. But Capcom is doing it, right? So they want you to pay for this. So they have to crack down on the modding community. Like, they cannot allow competition. So what they're doing now is like first of all, I made another video where I talked about how they rationalized the concept that, well, actually modding is like cheating. And you know, like to a certain degree they're right. Like, if you mod something in a multiplayer game that gives you an advantage, I guess, you know, but that wouldn't be, no, hold on, they're not right. That wouldn't be considered a mod. That would be considered a cheat. So cheating is different. Modding is when you mod in your single player game. Like, it only affects you. I remember when I grew up, there was this program, Dirty Little Helper. And back then it had things called trainers. So you would play Diablo 2 and you would install a trainer. And the trainer gave you like all the experience you wanted, all the gold you wanted, all the items you wanted. And no one would complain. Why? Because it was only on your computer. Right? So like, you weren't playing in multiplayer with other people. And if someone wanted to create like a Diablo Barbarian that was max level and he had all the gear and whatever, who cares? It's on his computer, right? The sanctity of one's bedroom, yeah. But apparently Capcom is saying, no, you cannot do that in the sanctity of your own bedroom. We demand that you play how we want you to play. And this is, by the way, like, this is where you can point out that all of these corporations that say, oh, it's too offensive for the modern audience are full of shit. Because if it was about, making sure that people don't get offended, they would have a slider, wouldn't they? Like, I remember when I grew up, Mortal Kombat was offensive for some people because it had too much blood. You know what they did? They added a slider. Well, a toggle. You would go into the option menu, you would turn the blood off. And all of a sudden, it was the same game. But, like, if you wanted, like, your kids to play, and you didn't, like, let's say you have a 16-year-old kid, and you think, well, he's old enough for Mortal Kombat, but he's not enough for blood and gore, you just disable the blood, and he can still play the game, right? And that's like tailoring to the individual experience. But they're not into doing that. They don't care about your individual experience. They want to shove their morality up your asshole. So by doing so, they don't care about having a slider or allowing you to have mods or any of that, right? So apparently, they are now installing a DRM engine, which, it's like fine if you want to install it for new games, because then people can judge whether or not they want to buy the game. But they're going to install it on games that people have already bought. Right? So, like, if you buy a game, and this is where it gets really nasty, some people buy games because of the mods. I mean, I know people who buy Street Fighter because of some lewd outfits for Juri or some lewd outfits for Chun-Li, right? It doesn't bother anyone because, like, they install it on their computer, and they're the only ones that get to see it. But Capcom is upset because if you do that, you don't buy their shitty skins, right? You don't spend money on this. So now they're going to install a DRM with, like, oh, let's make sure no one pirates it, yak yak. When in fact, it is to make sure that you don't get mods on your computer. And what it also does, apparently, this is as a bonus, according to people on Steam, it also stutters the frame rate by 10 to 15. Isn't Capcom a Japanese company? Why are they like this? Why are they like this? Like, you don't have to be like this. You just released Resident Evil 2 Remake. People started liking you again. I don't know what's with Capcom. It comes in waves, doesn't it? Like they managed to have, like, day one this DLC. They become the shittiest company ever. Then they release something like Resident Evil 2 Remake, and they become appreciated again. Now they have to do this shit. It's like, Capcom, like, must you be obnoxious? Like, nobody's forcing you to be obnoxious. Why you do this? Why you do this? Anyway, right, it's just, oh, God. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.